For school, is there anything you wish you would have known in school, or looking back, would you like to change anything? Not necessarily a little bit towards athletes, but maybe just, I know your views on the leaving certificate, but would you like to be able to go in and kind of implement something? I know that sticks out to you that maybe you would have liked to have known to be better prepared.
Absolutely. I mean, I will. And I mean, it's my opinion, but it's an opinion I'm very passionate about. I believe that in sport, in anything you're entering into in life, at any level, everything starts with your mind. Every inch of it starts with your mind. The commitment, the focus, the ability to deal with adversity, injury. This stuff's all inevitable in life. Yeah, no one knows how to deal with it when it happens. And that for me within sport was the massive missing link, and it still is. Because a lot of sports psychology is based around performance rather than going, you're an individual, you're a person, you deal with the same issues that everyone deals with, and I think that for me in schools I'm quite vocal about how the need to sculpt emotional intelligence training, resilience training. These are words we throw around a lot but no one really knows what it means, and then people are told to change their mindset. I'm like, but that's stupid to say unless you're telling people and teaching them the tools to do it. In sport, I did a certificate in sports psychology in the IAGT, and I learned a lot about stuff that doesn't matter was the stuff that I used to sweat about all the time. And that's what I would say, if you're an athlete or if you're just a hobbyist sport or you just, whatever it is you're doing, it starts with the head. Everything. And if your head is, if your head is not in the right place, or you're not sure why you're doing something, or you're only doing something to follow somebody, that won't fly, especially if you're trying to be an elite athlete, because that won't get you out of bed 6 a.m. because, my mate does it. You have to have a strong motivation, and that motivation has to be intrinsic. It can't be an extrinsic. It can't be about status, money, people telling you you're great. It has to come from the absolute core of your gut, because there is, it looks great being an athlete, but my God, is a tough in the head and the body.
Well, that was a very good. Going back into school, what advice would you give the young people of today, if you could kind of condense it down? I know you probably have a lot of advice, but maybe
young people, man,
just one or two for secondary school students, and just. Well,
one thing I will say is, I've worked to a lot of schools, and I've worked in that area. I'm very, very excited about the youth generation. I think they're immense. They think differently than they've definitely accelerated in terms of stuff they've probably had to deal with at earlier ages than we would have had to deal with. But they're incredible. Like a prime example, I'm not just talking in Ireland. If you look at the tragedy in Florida and how the young schools are actually showing leadership, more leadership than any politician or anyone else. Young people are, I think, are phenomenal. I think that the stuff that they're trying to juggle at the moment is beyond me. I don't think I would have got through life very well if I had to deal with all that. So that's the first thing I think about young people. I also think that if they are in a position where they're perhaps struggling, I think they now live in a far more accepting society to reach out and get that help. But one thing I would say to the advice would be is, the most powerful thing you'll ever learn, like genuinely, and I think it really cultivates a better place, a better society, is kindness. I think it's phenomenally powerful. It's more powerful than anything on this earth. Especially, people go, well, why is it powerful? The tiniest thing can change, literally can have this domino effect, to people's lives. It can be phenomenal. So empathy and kindness, even though sometimes you mightn't feel it, practice it, because this world, like, if you can make anyone's life a little bit brighter, it will make you feel good as well. So that to me is the big, I kind of hit my 30s before I realised the power of that, what it really means.
So. Yeah, it is.
And in sport especially, sport you might think can be this uber competitive, always trying to be on top or get on top of other people, and that's fine. It's great to have that drive.
You need that.
You need it. Everyone, like, that's a primal feeling that we all have. But I do think the idea is you can still be like the top athletes on this planet. The people that everyone aspires as role models are people who have those hearts and those kindness and can be that person as well. So from a sport perspective, I'll even remember a certain captain saying to me, and it was actually Leo Cullen.
Okay.
And he was kind of, like, he was the kind of guy I looked up to most in Leinster. A phenomenal player, and it makes total sense to me why he's doing so well at Leinster now. But I remember he just, I got a bad injury, and I kind of knew my career was over at that point. It was a bad quad rupture.
Oh gee,
and
that's pretty bad.
It was him. It was just the way he came up to me in the physio, no one else would talk to you, and he just put his arm around me and just said, listen, you know, he said, whatever happened here, you know, you've achieved so much. You know, I was just the way he said it to me, I was like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, you know, he's dead right. And I kind of went home and I said to him, I was like, you know, this isn't so bad. Like, it was just because of him. So I think those type of things can have massive impacts in group environments and team environments.
Especially when it's not like, he didn't have to do that.
But he meant it. It was authentic and it was sincere, and I could feel it. But then if you look at sport at another level, you look at some of these teams to spend millions upon millions upon millions getting players, and they're still shit. Because this is the most important thing in a team. It's like a genuine, you always hear it's not the individual. It isn't. It absolutely isn't. And I'll tell you another thing Leo did. Leo came back from Leicester, where he had gone with Shane Jennings, and I remember walking into Leinster. Leinster had won nothing at this point. They were totally underachieving with the team that they had, and Leo was just like, you'll never win anything with the culture that we have here. Change this. Everyone here is the same level. Everybody. And it was just and then I think they won the Heineken Cup next year. It shows you the power of it. So don't underestimate that.
That's very good. What one thing would you like to see change in Ireland in the next 5 years? If you could just pick one thing. I know you probably have a few.
In general, I'd like to see us have seriously open and solution-based, non-conflicting based conversation around our education system. Yeah, I really do. And this idea, if I hear another fella my age or older going, oh, well, I did Leaving Cert and I was fine. Shut up. Shut up. That doesn't benefit anybody, that horseshit. And this us versus them. And most people my generation, and I'm able to say this, don't still struggle immensely with speaking about things that are very important, like mental health in our generation. And I think rather than going, well, we did it, I don't care what you did, let's concentrate now. This is now. And they're dealing with a totally different set of issues than we would have dealt with. They're dealing with at the end of the day, not a more dangerous world. It isn't more. It disappears because everywhere we look, we're only being bombarded with complete toxic negativity and headlines of disaster. When the reality is, as Lust for Life says, 99% of people on this earth are sound. We just never hear about them. We only hear about the 1% of arseholes all the time. And no wonder we all feel a little bit overwhelmed and anxious and stressed and low. But the reality is that isn't true. That is not true. There's stuff happening right now in Ireland, everywhere, that's blow your mind. Amazing positive stuff.
What is the book of sound?
Little Book of Sound. Like literally just to show, like this is the reality. We don't. If you look at the psychology of media, fear is so good for business. Scaring us is good for business. Making sure, oh God, be fighting all the time. And I think, do you know what I really love about it? I think young people have copped onto that now. They've copped onto it. They're going bullshit. As that girl in Florida said, I'm calling bullshit on this, and it is bullshit. So if we're living in a world now where it's, you know, teenagers showing leadership, I'm all about that, because certainly an awful lot of politicians aren't and they're an embarrassment to themselves, and you know, they're arguing the way you wouldn't see two dogs arguing over a bone. It's embarrassing, and young people are starting to show the way. And personally, I feel pretty uplifted by it, because I see how they're thinking. But I think we as adults have a responsibility to figure out how we can make their journey a little easier, and that has to start with our education system. We have to be brave.
Honest conversations.
And I think we are. I think there's new conversations now being had. There's a new task force think about looking up at the Scandinavian systems and how creativity can be seen as a huge part. So I think those conversations are happening. What I do appeal to is to go to whatever government it is, to understand the needs of the teachers. Understand that the teachers, I think they'll be okay with change if they realise that they'll be well looked after, and this is something we all have to go through together. But don't let's not make this an us versus them thing. It has never worked. So that's what I hope in an ideal romantic world will happen. We'll see.
Well, let's hope so. I think I'm just going to say now, I think probably a lot of people that are watching this realise that what you've done and kind of spoken out has just had ripple effects, and it's absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to see what you do in the next 5 years and the impact that you will have, especially after this No Pressure.
I have to do something now.
Well, like after the Masters and everything, it's just what you've done is phenomenal, and you can just see it everywhere. So
I'm delighted. Well,
for me, like really, really, like thank you and well done.
Thank you very much.
But I mean.